Good day, ma'am. I am Niño and Naelgas, a BSed Science 4 student from Aklan State University, Banga campus. And today, I'm going to present to you this video presentation about my topic, nucleic acid. But before I continue, let me read to you or present to you this lesson objective for us to be guided during this discussion. So at the end of the lesson, we will be able to A. Describe nucleic acid based on its structure, function, and its two types. B. Construct a creative presentation that effectively communicates our understanding of the role of nucleic acid. And last, value the importance of nucleic acid in maintaining and reproducing the cells in our body. So in this picture, we can observe that both families have differences in terms of their physical appearance. We can also observe that some characteristics that we can found in the parents can also be found in their children. In other terms, there is a passing of traits or characteristics from one generation to the next. So there is this so-called hereditary traits. And there is a biomolecule that is responsible for this, and that biomolecule is what we call as the nucleic acid. So what really is this nucleic acid? So nucleic acid is one of the biomolecules in our body which store, transmit, and help express hereditary information. So nucleic acids are essential for the continuity of life because in the nucleic acid, it is where we can find all the information, all the instructions. Okay, so these nucleic acids store the genetic information that defines an organism, transmit this information from one generation to the next, and help express this information through our traits and characteristics. So the building block of the nucleic acids are the nucleotides, and its primary function again is to store and transmit the genetic information. So why do you think that the nucleic acid are considered as the most important biomolecules? So it is because they carry the genetic blueprint of a cell and carry the instructions for the functioning of a cell, meaning that the entire building plan for cells, tissues, and organs rests on the nucleic acids. Alright? So all the information, all the instructions that define an organisms or how a cell functions, all are stored inside the nucleic acids. Okay? Now, let us proceed to the different roles and functions of nucleic acids in our body. So we all know that there are two types of nucleic acids, and those are the DNA and the RNA. And these materials are responsible for maintaining and reproducing cells that make up our body. So I have listed here different functions or roles of nucleic acids in our body. So the first one is replication, reproduction, and heredity. When we talk about replication, meaning exact copy, reproduction, nagreproduce. Heredity, it's something that you inherit from your parents or something that minana mo or namana or ipinasa sa'yo ng parents mo. It is for the traits and characteristics, okay? Now, nucleic acids, as I told you earlier, are the blueprint of life because, again, all the informations can be found inside or are contained inside the nucleic acids. So they are also responsible for ensuring that the genetic information is accurately copied and passed down from one generation to the next. So they are like the architects of life. So their role in replication, reproduction, and heredity ensures the continuity of life and the diversity of the species. Alright? Next, let's proceed to the second one, which is the Reserve Bank of Genetic Information. So, how does the nucleic acids accomplish this role? So, nucleic acids are like, or they serve as a safe deposit box for genetic information. They preserve these genetic informations for future generations, which also enables the transmission of life's characteristics, and which also allows for the continuity or for the continuation of life. Alright? Now, let's proceed to the third one. It directs protein synthesis. Now, nucleic acids, as I told you earlier, have all the instructions for everything. It might be the instructions for how the cells functions. Alright? So, inside these nucleic acids, it is also where we can find the instructions for making protein. Specifically, in the type of nucleic acids which is the DNA, it is where we can find all these instructions. Now, RNA plays a vital role in this. Now, in the DNA, as I told you earlier, it is where all the instructions are stored. And then RNA will copy that instruction from the DNA. Then it will take those instructions to the ribosomes. So why is it in the ribosome? As we all know, ribosome is the site for protein synthesis. Now, after the RNA copied the instruction from the DNA, the RNA will take those instructions to the ribosomes. Then, ribosome will read those instructions and then he will build the proteins. Alright? So, why protein synthesis? Now, protein synthesis is essential for life because it provides a building block for all the cellular functions and necessary for development, growth and repair, immune functions, and many more. Alright? Now, let's proceed to the three structural components of nucleic acids, and those are the nitrogenous base, phosphate group, and the pentose sugar. First, let's proceed to nitrogenous base. The nitrogenous bases are important component of the nucleic acids or the nucleotides. So they are organic molecules and so named because they contain carbon and nitrogen. So this nitrogenous base has a ring structure as what we can see here in the picture below. And each nucleotide contains one of the four possible nitrogenous base. And those bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine in DNA, and uracil in RNA. These nitrogenous bases are categorized into two main types, and they are categorized according to their structure. As what we can see here in this picture, adenine and guanine are considered purines, while cytosine, thymine, and uracil are considered pyrimidines. Purines because their structure contain two fused carbon-nitrogen ring, while pyrimidines because their structure is only have one carbon-nitrogen ring. Remember, if a nitrogenous base is composed or contained of two fused carbon-nitrogen ring, it is called pyrimidines, and it could be either be adenine or guanine. However, if the structure is only have one carbon-nitrogen ring, it is pyrimidines, and therefore it is either cytosine, thymine, and uracil. Now, let's proceed to the second structural component of the nucleic acid or nucleotide, and that is the 5-carbon sugar or the pentose sugar. Now, from the word itself na penta meaning 5, that's why 5-carbon sugar. Alright? So the pentose sugar that we can found in the DNA is the deoxyribose, while in RNA, ribose. And these two sugar, the deoxyribose and the ribose, have almost a similar structure as what we can see here in the picture below. Now, if we look closer, there is a something, or there's one structure that is different from the other one. All right, and that is something we can found in the second carbon of each sugar. Now, if we look at the DNA, there is only hydrogen attached on the second carbon of the DNA, or in the deoxyribose. Now, if we look on the ribose structure, we can see that there is, in the second structure, in the second carbon, we can see that there is a hydroxyl group attached on its second carbon, meaning there is an OH attached to the second carbon of the ribose, while in the deoxyribose, there is only an H attached. Hence, DNA is named as deoxyribose, meaning yung de, meaning there is no or there is absence, and yung oxe, oxygen, ribose is the sugar. Deoxyribose meaning there is no oxygen on the second carbon of the ribose. Alright? Now, the function of this pentose sugar is to provide the structural framework for the attachment of the nitrogenous base and the pentose sugar. Alright? Again, the function of this pentose sugar is to provide a structural framework for the attachment of the nitrogenous base and the phosphate group. Alright? Now, let's proceed to the third and last structural component of the nucleic acid, and that is the phosphate group. This phosphate group serves as the backbone of the nucleic acid. Together with the pentose sugar, it gives nucleic acid its structural framework and directionality. Now, this phosphate group, as what we can see in this picture, is attached to the hydroxyl group of the 5-carbon sugar of one sugar, and to the hydroxyl group of the 3rd carbon sugar of the next nucleotide. Alright? As what we can see here in the picture, if we zoom in, no, this phosphate group again is attached to the 5th carbon of one sugar and is attached to the hydroxyl group of the 3rd carbon sugar of the next nucleotide. Alright? Again, so the function of this phosphate group serve as a backbone of the nucleic acid. Now let's proceed to the two main types of the nucleic acid, and those are the DNA or the deoxyribonucleic acid and the RNA or the ribonucleic acids. Now, I have here a table that shows the differences between the two. First, let's have the function. The functions of the DNA is to contain the genetic instructions about how the cells will grow and functions. Now, we have discussed that earlier, that we have learned earlier, no, that the DNA, no, inside the DNA, it is where all the instructions and informations are stored. Alright? Now, in RNA, they transfer this information to the cells from the nucleus to the ribosomes. So, this RNA plays a crucial role or is essential for protein synthesis. We also discussed that earlier, no, the processes in protein synthesis. Again, just to recall, sa DNA po, lahat ng instructions naka-stored, including the protein synthesis. Now, this RNA will copy those instructions from the DNA. No? So, pupunta siya sa DNA, ikakopy niya yung instructions, then, this RNA will transfer that instruction to the ribosome, which is the site for protein synthesis. Now, pagdating dun sa ribosome will read those instructions, and after reading those instructions, he will make the protein. Alright? Now, in terms of structure, See, DNA have a double-stranded or the double helix structure, meaning they are intertwined, no? Pag ganon. While RNA has a single-stranded structure only. Okay? Now, in terms of the nitrogenous base, DNA consists of adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. While in RNA, it contains adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. So the main differences between the two is that in DNA, there is thymine, while in RNA, thymine is replaced by uracil. In terms of base pairing, in DNA, adenine is paired with thymine and cytosine is paired with guanine. While in RNA, adenine is paired with uracil and cytosine is paired with guanine. In terms of pentose sugar, DNA has the deoxyribose, while in RNA, ribose. Again, just to recap, the differences between the ribose and deoxyribose is that deoxyribose have no oxygen to the second carbon of the ribose sugar. Meaning, if we take a good look between those two structures, the DNA po is walang oxygen to the second carbon sugar while si ribose is meron pong oxygen. In terms of location, no, saan nga ba natin makikita these two nucleic acids? DNA can be found in the nucleus of the eukaryotes, meaning they have true cells, no? Next, they can also be found in the nucleoid of the prokaryotes, just like the bacteria, ganon. Next, DNA can also be found in the mitochondria and the chloroplasts of the plants. While RNA naman can be found, some of this can be found in the nucleus, some also can be found in the cytoplasm, and some of them can be found in the ribosome. Now, why do you think that nucleic acid is important? Again, it is because that the nucleic acid carry the genetic blueprint of the cell and carry the instructions of how the cell will function and grow. Okay? Meaning, all the instructions are contained inside these nucleic acids. No? So they are like the architects of life. If wala ito, there is no continuity of life. Alright? Now, it is also important for us to study this nucleic acid because it provides us with a valuable understanding of the fundamental building block of life or the processes that govern the life. Let's wrap up. So earlier we have discussed all about the nucleic acids, and when we talk about nucleic acids, these are the biomolecules which store, transmit, and help expresses hereditary information. We've also discussed that the building block of nucleic acid is nucleotide, and these nucleic acids are important because they carry the genetic blueprint of life or the genetic blueprint of a cell, meaning that the entire building plan for organs, for cells, for tissues rests on the nucleic acid. Alright? We've also discussed the different roles, no, of nucleic acids in our body, and those are the replication, reproduction, and heredity, reserve bank of genetic information, and it directs protein synthesis. Next, we have also discussed the three structural components of the nucleic acids, and those are the nitrogenous base, the pentose sugar, and the phosphate group. Lastly, we have also discussed the differences between the two main types of the nucleic acids, and those are the DNA and RNA. Alright? So I hope you've learned something from our today's discussion, and to test whether you've learned something, we will have first to have our assessment. Now, I want you to get a piece of paper and try to answer this evaluation below. Alright, and after answering these questions, please send your answers to me. First, what is the building block of nucleic acids? A. Amino acids. B. Nucleotides. C. Sugar. Or D. Fatty acids. Number 2. Which of the following is a function of nucleic acids? A. Storing genetic information. B. Catalyzing chemical reactions. C. Providing energy for cells. Or D. Building cell membranes. Number 3. What are the two components of nucleic acids gives its structural framework and directionality? A. Nucleotides and fatty acids. B. Phosphate group and nitrogenous base. C. Nitrogenous base and pentose sugar. Or D. Phosphate group and pentose sugar. Number 4. What do you think is the role of nucleic acid in replication, reproduction, and heredity? A. They are responsible for ensuring that genetic information is accurately copied and passed down from one generation to the next. B. They store and protect genetic information for future use. C. The nucleic acid provide the instruction for production of protein. And D. They serve as biological catalyst. Number 5. Phosphate group together with pentose sugar form a sugar phosphate backbone. What is its function? A. It gives nucleic acid its structural framework and directionality. B. It gives nucleic acid its chemical composition. C. It makes nucleic acid easy for base pairing. Or D. For easy replication, transcription, and translation of DNA. Number 6. Which of the following is not a component of nucleotide? A. Sugar. B. Phosphate group. C. Amino acid. Or D. Nitrogenous base. Number 7. What are the two main types of nucleic acid? A. Carbohydrates and proteins. B. Lipids and nucleic acid. C. DNA and RNA. Or D. Protein and nucleic acid. Number 8. Why is DNA considered the blueprint of life? A. It provides energy for cellular processes. B. It regulates the cell cycle. C. It contains the genetic instructions for building and maintaining an organism. Or D. It acts as a catalyst of the cell. Number 9. Why are adenine and guanine considered purines? A. Because they contain only one carbon-nitrogen ring. B. Because their structures contain two fused carbon-nitrogen rings. C. Because they are found in RNA but not in DNA. Or D. Because they are smaller than pyrimidines. Last question, number 10. What is pyrimidines? A. Double-ringed structure nitrogenous base. B. Single-ringed structure nitrogenous base. C. Triple-ringed structure nitrogenous base. Or D. No specific structure. Now, after answering those questions, please submit your answers to me. And to check if your answers are correct, please refer to the answer key provided below. Number 1, B. 2, A. 3, D. 4, A. 5, A. 6, C. 7, C. 8, C. 9, B. 10, B. That's it for our discussion today, and I hope that you've learned something. Thank you.